had a call from Stuttgart that if we would call them, that they would go into settlement talks. I'm going to go on record right now. I will never entertain settlement talks with Daimler. We're going to trial. We'll lose it or win it. That's all I got to say.
Leveling that subscribe button is all you need to do to catch up on more videos from our channel in the future. Hey there gang, what's up and welcome back to our channel. No college degree? No problem. Some of the richest people in the world were college dropouts or even high school dropouts. More than 1 million students drop out of high school every year in the United States, which makes them completely ineligible for 90% of the jobs out there. However, some people managed to make a fortune out of their circumstances and worked relentlessly to get them where they are today. Are you asking yourself who the 10 high school dropouts that are billionaires are? Well, look no further. Joseph C. Lewis. At the young age of 15, the British businessman left school to govern his father's catering company, Tavistock Banqueting. This proved to be a path he'd never regret as he took over the company and turned it into a multinational conglomerate. His art collection alone amounts to over $1 billion, and through the Tavistock Group, Joe has interest in more than 200 companies, including the London Premiership soccer team Tottenham Hotspur, a stake in UK's largest pub operator, Mitchells & Butlers, approximately 135 restaurants in the United States, and 4 medical centers in Lake Nona, Florida, one of the fastest growing communities in the United States. Today, Lewis is estimated to be worth $5.3 billion.
The 2017 Forbes list released last year had his estimated personal fortune as £4.5 billion, up £240 million from the previous year. That makes him the 5th richest man in the UK and 269th richest in the world.
Carl Lindler Jr. During the Great Depression, being no more than just 14 years old, the American businessman from Ohio dropped out of school to help with his family's dairy company by delivering milk. He opened an ice cream shop with his 2 brothers that came to be known as the United Dairy Farmers Chain, established in 1938 and operates over 200 stores in different states across the United States. By 1984, he purchased Chiquita Brands International and in 1999 became owner and CEO of Cincinnati Reds. At the time of his passing, he was estimated to be worth $1.7 billion.
So this is just a little token from...
Get a load of this. It's a star. From another star. Thank you, honey. I appreciate it. Thank you, honey.
Richard Branson. After struggling with dyslexia, Richard dropped out of school at the tender age of 16. The world-famous billionaire founded his first company soon after dropping out in the form of Student Magazine and eventually a mail-order record company that evolved into what we today recognize as the Virgin Records. Today, his company Virgin Group oversees nearly 500 subsidiaries. He has a net worth of $5.1 billion and a private island that hosts the luminaries of the world.
Billionaire Richard Branson, a business mogul and investor, has an estimated net worth of mind-boggling $4.8 billion.
David H. Murdoch. David left school when he was only in the 9th grade and started working at a gas station for a while until he was drafted into the Army in 1945. He was away all during World War II and didn't purchase his first business until he was back from that endeavor. He bought a diner in Detroit. Since he didn't plan to keep the diner running long term, he flipped it and profited by a couple of $100, about $9,200 adjusted for inflation. In 1985, he acquired Hawaiian real estate outfit Castle & Cooke, which owned fruit company Dole, which is the world's largest fruit and vegetable producer. Murdoch is estimated to be worth $3 billion.
When she got sick and we found out it was cancer, I thought that I can put a problem into my brain and it's a machine that comes up with an answer. But you can't come up with an answer to cancer.
Francois Pinault. Dropping out at the incredibly young age of 11 in 1947 after being bullied in school by peers for his low socioeconomic background, Pinall started out in his father's lumber mill and went on to the fashion conglomerate Kering, which owns prestigious fashion houses like Yves Saint Laurent, Stella McCartney, Alexander McQueen, and Gucci, ranking him the 5th richest man in France. In addition to that, he also holds the company Artemis SA, which among other things owns Converse shoes, Samsonite luggage, Chateau Latour, the Vail Ski Resort in Colorado, as well as Christie's auction house. He is said to be worth a staggering $13 billion with an art collection that contains more than 2,000 works.
François Pinault is the founder of one of the largest holdings in the fashion and luxury business. He started from extremely humble beginnings and now owns worldwide recognized brands such as Gucci and Balenciaga.
Amancio Ortega. Starting out as an errand boy for local shops and retailers, Ortega dropped out of school at 14 years old and is now one of the wealthiest people in the world. In the late 1960s, he started designing dressing gowns, lingerie, and housecoats from the comfort of his own home and started out on a small scale. With combined efforts from his wife at the time, Rosalie Amara, they co-founded Zara in 1975. A decade or so later, he formed Inditex as a holding company for Zara and its other retail brands. At a net worth of a whopping $64 billion, he ranks as the richest man in all of Spain.
Amancio Ortega is a Spanish tycoon that started from very humble means and built one of the largest retail companies in the world.
John D. Rockefeller. Seeking his first employment at the age of 16, Rockefeller is arguably the richest American of all time. If his fortune were adjusted to inflation, it would amount to a net worth of a staggering $340 billion. Dropping out of high school as a teenager after a brief bookkeeping course, he went out and founded the Standard Oil Company, which amounted to most, if not all, his fortune.
Then, to showcase his success, John built an impressive headquarters for his company on Broadway. This moment was the high point of Rockefeller's Standard Oil. He owned 20,000 oil wells, 4,000 miles of pipeline, and employed over 100,000 people.
Kirk Kerkorian. Having dropped out of high school, Kirk focused his time and energy on becoming an amateur boxer as a career path. Born poor, he tried out being a brawling amateur boxer, a daredevil pilot, and a high-stakes poker player before figuring out safer ways to amass a multi-billion-dollar fortune, but it wasn't until 1962 when the Armenian-American businessman purchased a land in Las Vegas, Nevada, and opened the original MGM Grand 7 years later. This media-shy investor became one of the richest Americans by betting his money on ventures like casinos and film studios. He pursued strategies that baffled business rivals and Wall Street analysts and left him sometimes on the verge of bankruptcy. Other times, his moves brought him windfalls. That was very pivotal in skyrocketing his career, which in turn increased his net worth to $4 billion.
We had a call from Stuttgart. If we would call them, they would go into settlement talks. I'm going to go on record right now. I will never entertain settlement talks with Daimler. We're going to trial. We'll lose it or win it. That's all I got to say.
Henry Ford. Business magnate, founder of the Ford Motor Company, the world-renowned Henry was not always as successful as he ought to be now. He left his family farm at 16 to relocate in Detroit, where he became an apprentice in a machine shop and later chief engineer at the Edison Illuminating Company. While working as an engineer for the company in Detroit, Henry built his first gasoline-powered horseless carriage, the quadricycle, in the shed behind his home. In 1903, he established the Ford Motor Company, and 5 years later, the company rolled out the first Model T. In order to meet the overwhelming demand of the revolutionary vehicle, Ford introduced revolutionary new mass production methods, including large production plants and the use of standardized interchangeable parts, and in 1913, the world's first moving assembly line for cars. This American industrialist holds a net worth of $199 billion.
Henry Ford went from a farm boy to American industrialist and founder of the Ford Motor Company.
Jay-Z. Becoming hip-hop's first billionaire, Sean Corey Carter, professionally known as Jay-Z, dropped out of high school and started dealing drugs, but quickly changed career path through an epiphany that drugs will only lead him down a dangerous downward spiral, so he chose the path of music instead. Apart from having a successful music career, his fortune comes from his stakes in liquor brands, art, real estate, and in companies such as Uber. From rags to riches, he's now worth $1 billion.
Jay-Z is both the richest rapper in the world and also the first rapper to surpass the $1 billion fortune mark.
While a number of prominent college dropouts later became ultra-wealthy, particularly tech giants like Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, it's generally rarer for high school dropouts to become among the richest people in the world. But still, it does happen from time to time. But this route might not work for everyone, so stay in school, kids. This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, do let us know by hitting the like button. Stick around for more amazing content, as we'll be seeing you guys in another video real soon. Until then, take care and goodbye.